Hi, my name is Michelle, and I'm making a video about and telling you a story about what happened to our family. I have two grandchildren, and in 2007, I had a beautiful grandson. His name is John Richard. In 2009, I had a beautiful granddaughter. Her name's Haley Lee Michelle. She was born regularly. She was at her weight was normal. Everything was normal. What happened was, at 4 months old, she got sick. Come to find out that the mom didn't understand by not putting enough formula in the baby bottle. So she got sick, and she actually literally died in my arms. We brought her to the emergency room, and we signed her in. And as I was taking her out of the car seat, she died in my arms. And they automatically rushed her in and brought her back in, worked on her. She died. They worked on her again. She died and worked on her. She died 4 times that night, then slipped into a coma. She was having seizures and everything. So, of course, dcyf got involved, and they took both my granddaughter and my grandson. Now, because I have an old record with my daughter when she was younger, and mind you, there was the stuff that they were holding against me is when I called for help, and they used it against me anyway. But my thing is, I just want to let you all know that they didn't play their cards right. They never asked anybody in the family to take my grandson. My granddaughter was still in the hospital. She was in the hospital for like almost 7 months. She's alive, but she's a very sick baby. Now, for 4 years, we fought with dcyf trying to get custody of my grandson. I wanted him. I tried so many different ways of getting him. I tried expunging my record. They wouldn't expunge my record. I called the mayor's office. I wrote a letter to the judge. I've done everything. I hired a lawyer, everything, and I couldn't get him. They wouldn't give him to me. So they used everything against me when my daughter was little. One of the things when my daughter was little, she kept falling a lot, so they said that I neglected her and I wasn't taking care of her, and she was tiny. Now, the thing what I want to let everybody know is that family history, when my granddaughter was in the hospital, I dug up family history. My nephew, when he was a baby, from the time 6 months old to a year old, he didn't gain weight. The other was my daughter was little. She was very tiny. She didn't gain weight until she was teenager, up until late teenagers. And my son was the same way, and I was the same way. My husband is 6'2" and tall and skinny. So it runs in the family that there was no, they were small. And the mother of the children, mind you, is actually size 0. Size 0. And actually, when she was pregnant for both of the children, she wore her size 0 jeans through the whole entire pregnancy, so she was very tiny. So they used that against us. Well, they told my son and his girlfriend, if you do this, 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 and this, you'll get your son back. If you go to counseling, you get your son back. If you go to parenting classes, you get your son back. Well, they did everything that they were supposed to do, and they wouldn't give him their son back because of the mentality of the mom. The mom was is not capable of taking care of a child. But that doesn't say I'm not capable of taking care of a child. I raised my kids. Both of my kids never got arrested, never done drugs, not an alcoholic, and they never smoked pot. So, and they still wouldn't give me my grandson, which dcyf never took my kids away from me. So, which I don't think it was fair at all, where I lose my grandson because, okay, the mentality of the mom, but of a prior and old record they used against me. It was a 4-year battle. They wouldn't let me, we were seeing him every week for 2 hours a week, my son and his girlfriend, and they let me see him. I got to see him twice a month, and then up at the we were going back and forth to the courts, back and forth. It cost me $4,000 to try to beat this case, and I lost. My son is not the same person anymore. I can just tell you that my son is a totally different person. He does not go out. He doesn't do anything. He used to work. He did work. He held down a job, and that was one of the other things that DCYF said. Hold down a job for 2 years and hold your own apartment for 2 years and you get your son back. Well, it never happened. So, but you got these people out there that does drugs. You got these people that beat the kids up and videotape and put it on Facebook. And where are these kids today? Back in the parents' hands. Now, I don't think it's fair to anybody that loses their grandkid because of an old record or anything like that. And I never abused my kids. I mean, they were disciplined, but I never abused them. I never neglected my kids. I always had a roof over their head, their food on their plate, everything. They had clothes, but I wasn't able to take care of my grandson. But I took care of my kids. So the moral to this story is that at the very end, we tried getting my daughter to get custody of my grandson, which she's never had kids. And when we presented her in court, DCYF came up with a fake record on my daughter, which, mind you, they used everything that when she was a child and used that against her. She was a child. She was a minor, and they used that and made a fake record on her so that my grandson could not go with her. So the foster parents originally did not want to adopt, but once we brought my daughter involved, they went and talked them into it. Throughout the whole 4 years through all this, I mean, my whole family's gone through some major crap because of this, and just to, I mean, it was been very, very tough, and it's, emotional. It's mind-disturbing what DCYF did. They would go for their visits, and DCYF will pull sneaky meetings on these two kids and intimidate them by saying, "Oh, well, if you don't sign your rights up, and if you go to court, if you go to court, you're gonna lose, and you'll never see your kid." That's not right. First of all, they did everything they were supposed to do. Even when my grandson was going to school, they went to their IEP meetings with the foster parents. So either way, it wasn't fair. It wasn't fair to my son. It wasn't fair to me, my first grandson. Unfortunately, my granddaughter was adopted first because of her medical status, and she is going to be 5, and she was adopted in 2010. Our last court date was December of 2013, and it was horrible because we sat in the court hallway going back and forth. My lawyers going back and forth with their lawyers. It was four lawyers against my lawyer, and I have a good lawyer. Paul Fontaine is one of the best lawyers for family, DCYF, and all them, and it was hard. And the last time I got to see my grandson was January 29th, and I got to see him for 15 minutes, and I miss him so much. I love him to death, and he said, "I love you, Meme." So I'm gonna get probably emotional, but my son got to see him 2 weeks ago, and I guess the foster parents is gonna allow him be involved with our family, which is really great because I don't think it would have been fair if he didn't get to know his own family members, and he knows me as Meme. He knows his mom and dad as mommy and daddy. He knows his aunt as auntie. So I have contacted Sheldon White House office, and they got back to me and they gave me some phone numbers. I have contacted one of the mayors out here in Woonsocket, and he contacted me and wrote me a letter. I did put it out on Channel 12, Channel 10, and nobody contacted me back. But anyway, my grandson's been adopted, but I'm not giving up on telling my story and getting it out there, because the system is not it's not right. I mean, they let child molesters out on the streets. They let drug dealers do what they want, and the justice system is not fair to the working class family that works their butt off like I do. And I worked 3 jobs when my kids were growing up to make sure they had what they needed. And I don't think it was right for what dcyf did. They have way too much power, and I think the government, the state, needs to get in there and clean house and stop giving them the power of taking children away from families that don't beat on their kids, don't neglect their kids. Yeah, people make mistakes in their lives, but everybody does. So again, I just wanted to get my story out there. My grandson is 6. He's going to be 7 in October. I'm glad that we get to go see him graduate from kindergarten to 1st grade this year. So, but the moral to this story is that dcyf is always not doing their job properly. And there's plenty of times that I've called on other people that have neglected their children and is an alcoholic and a drug addict, and they have not done anything. So the justice system is not right, and I think they need to clean house. They need to evaluate dcyf and stop giving them power, because they ruin people's lives. You don't even know what my son is going through right now, and I have him on medication and going to counseling. He's very depressed, and it's not fair. So, like I said, I just wanted to get my story out there, and hopefully other parents and grandparents and do the same thing that I'm doing, making a video, getting the videos out there, calling the people, the Congress, the mayors, everything. So thank you, and thank you for listening to me, and God bless.